on to this report. Welcome, Your Excellency, the President.
Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Asanteni sana. Let me welcome you again to this morning brief. I appreciate that it's not very warm around here, but I think it keeps all of us awake. There was a bit of engagement from the birds around here, and I thought there was some distraction. But it is not about the birds, it's about the instructions that were given to them. I think the person who instructed the birds did not give them the correct time. Ladies and gentlemen, the safety of our people on our roads remain a matter of grave national concern. Despite sustained interventions over the years, road accidents and the injuries and loss of life they occasion continue to exert a heavy and unacceptable toll on our nation. Kenya records more than 4,000 road fatalities annually. Last year alone, 5,009 deaths were reported on our roads, an increase, as was said by the Chief Justice, of 261 compared to the year 2024. These accidents and their ensuing fatalities and injuries cost our economy an equivalent of 5% of our GDP, translating to an estimated Kenya shillings 450 billion annually. During the 2025 festive season alone, 415 deaths were recorded. Just imagine, a 23% increase from the previous year. I am, however, encouraged that deliberate steps are already being taken to confront this challenge, a multi-sectoral approach. And for the first time, a coordinated interagency traffic justice model was successfully piloted during the 2025-2026 festive season under the framework of the National Council on the Administration of Justice. This initiative brought together enforcement, prosecution, and adjudication in a unified and a structured manner. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to note that the interventions during the festive season yielded measurable gains. The deployment of 36 prosecutors, 40 officers from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and 121 officers from the National Transport and Safety Authority significantly strengthened enforcement. As a result, fatalities involving public service vehicles declined by 10%, largely due to intensified oversight. This initiative has therefore established a viable and replicable national model for managing traffic offenses. Even so, emerging risks demand our urgent attention. Accidents involving private vehicles have increased relative to public service vehicles, and so have nighttime crashes involving long-distance trucks. Additionally, border-related accidents continue to pose a persistent and serious threat on our roads. The pilot showed the core drivers of road traffic accidents within the various sectors. Within the justice sector, key factors include weak enforcement, inadequate highway patrols, bribery across enforcement chain, lenient penalties that fail to deter offenders, poor interagency coordination, and gaps in post-crash response. Other major contributors include reckless driving, speeding and drunk driving, poor driver training, widespread unlicensed riding, unroadworthy vehicles, counterfeit spare parts, unsafe road signs, the high vulnerability of pedestrians and motorcyclists. Economic pressures on PSV operators are also contributing to risky behavior. The pilot further exposed critical weaknesses within the justice chain. These include persistent corruption and roadside bribery, delays in investigations and prosecutions, weak evidence management systems, digital gaps, inconsistent fines, absence of traffic-specific sentencing guidelines, limited capacity of the workforce, funding constraints, and weak enforcement of notices to attend courts. Operational challenges were also evident. Virtual courts achieved only 25% success rate due to connectivity and power limitations. Budget constraints affected the rollout of mobile courts. Case processing delays were noted between arrest and registration at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. In some instances, agencies continued to operate in silos while public compliance with traffic rules remained low. Ladies and gentlemen, to decisively confront these challenges, the report sets out a comprehensive package of reforms that we must urgently give priority to stem the continued loss of life and injuries in our roads. First, on legal and policy reform, the report proposes that we amend the Traffic Act to respond to emerging risks. Key measures include the introduction of instant fines and a demerit point system for driving licenses, the standardization of driver training and licensing, and the fast-tracking of the National Council of Administration of Justice Bill. I think that's what the Chief Justice was saying, that it's now time that we have the NCAJ with its own statute that would help us coordinate better the actions of the different actors in this space. Second, on digital transformation, the report recommends the establishment of an integrated e-transport and traffic case management system linking all relevant agencies. It also calls for the scaling up of automated ticketing, expanded deployment of CCTV and speed cameras, and the creation of a secure digital evidence management framework. Third, on police and integrity reforms, the report recommends the deployment of body-worn cameras for traffic officers, strengthened continuous vetting and integrity testing, enhanced anti-bribery mechanisms, and improved welfare, supervision, and working conditions for enforcement officers. Priority actions for non-justice sector agencies include fast-tracking the identification of black spots, particularly along the Northern Corridor and the Mombasa-Nairobi Highway. The report further calls for the adoption of safety by design principles in all new road projects and the expansion of pedestrian walkways, crossings, and dual carriageways. On vehicle and drivers, I note that the reports call for the strengthening of mandatory inspection of vehicles and motorcycles and the introduction of digital fatigue monitoring systems such as tachographs. It also recommends the requirement of defensive driver certification for PSV operators and the formalization of border-border operations through SACCO structures. Similarly, on emergency response, it is proposed that we establish additional trauma centers and ambulance response points along major highways, alongside the strengthening of the golden hour response framework to save more lives. The way forward, therefore, is clear. Sustained high-level political leadership is indispensable. Road safety must be pursued through a whole-of-government and a whole-of-society approach. Dedicated financing mechanisms, including the operationalization of the National Road Safety Fund, must now be prioritized. As a country, we have made an important step through coordinated enforcement and traffic codes. However, rising fatalities, systemic corruption risks, infrastructure gaps, and weak digital integration make it clear that road safety reform must now move from pilot phase to full national transformation. And while at it, I listened very carefully to the report that was made by the Chief Justice. And there are 2 or 3 fundamental things that come to my mind. To cut down on all the things that we have said, from weak enforcement, to bribery, to court attendance, to backlog in our courts, I agree with the report and with the Chief Justice that some of these traffic offenses need to be moved to the realm of administrative interventions. Part of the reason why it's easy to pay a bribe rather than go to court is because it takes so long to pay a legitimate fine, and therefore it encourages more people to instead pay the bribe. And therefore, we must make it much more painful to pay the bribe and make it much more easy to pay the legal fine. It is our responsibility. Because if the fine for a traffic offense is 1,000 shillings, and it means you spend a whole day in a courtroom waiting to pay the 1,000. You know, that's how we end up with the challenges that we have. We have read here that not many people even come to court, right? And the IG will tell you he has a long list of people who want to join the traffic department. Not because they are hard-working officers who want to assist us in any manner, but because of what is going on there. So I think we just must call it what it is. I have always wondered why we have taken forever Davis, the Ministry of Transport, and team. Why don't we enforce the instant fines program? Why haven't we rolled out the cameras on our roads? You know, It is just as simple as that. We have a new guy at NTSA. I hope he's here. Yes, we have this new guy at NTSA. It is my position, Waziri, that within the shortest time possible, let us roll out the cameras. We've been discussing this forever. You know? When can we have the cameras on the roads, Davis? You haven't answered my question, Davis. When? When? Let's cut it to the chase.
Because of the investors program, let's give it a maximum of
1 month.
1 month. Thank you.
It has to be 1 month.
Thank you, Your
I know
Excellency.
it can be done within 1 month.
We'll do it, Your Excellency.
So, when you leave this place, Bwanadiji, go do what you have to do with the support of the minister and the Minister of Transport. Rolling out the cameras is not rocket science. We've had cameras before on the roads. So let us roll out cameras in the, is it 5 or 6 major towns in Kenya in the next 1 month. And those cameras must be, are already connected to the whole framework of instant fines. Is that correct? So that way, we will make it easy for us to do several things. Number one, we do not need to argue with offenders. The cameras will provide foolproof evidence that they are in breach. Number two, we do not have to go and bother the Chief Justice in court. The fine will be predetermined. When you have committed the offense, you will have a fine on your phone instantly. And the issue of us not having money will also end, because we'll be collecting money instantly. So we'll solve all our problems in one shot. Okay? And then we can allow the Chief Justice to handle the serious cases of corruption and all the others. So there is absolutely, so two things that you must do. Let us implement the instant fines. Is the law in Parliament? The instant fines, is the instant fines regulations, are they already in place? Does anybody know? Pardon? They are in the minor traffic offences regulations.
Yes, minor traffic offences regulations.
Have they been adopted by Parliament?
Yes.
So,
in 2016.
So story finished. You know? So we have the law, we have the cameras, let's just roll them out. So this would be my real, instead of us, you know, all this is a good story. But you see, let's just finish it. Because I remember there was a small controversy that was brought to my attention on the sharing of the fines between the Justice Department, the Police Department, and others, and NTSA and somebody else. And I think that was sorted out. If it is not sorted out, we should convene quickly, sort it out, so that we roll out this program. That does not mean to say all the other things that we have said in terms of making sure that we can attend to those who are injured. And my proposal is that I hope the instant fine framework provides that the more offenses you commit, the higher the fine every time. You know, I think if you are a first-time offender, if it is 1,000 shillings, when you commit the next offense within the same year, it should go to 2,000, like that, so that finally, it becomes much more painful to breach the law than to obey the law. As it is now, it is easier to breach the law than to observe the law. Okay? So, if we can do that as of the timeline we have given, and then we can roll out the rest of on the highways and do all the other things that we are doing. I agree that we need a digital platform that is much more reliable than what we have at the moment. And I don't think that is, again, rocket science. I think we can put it together so that there is a digital system that brings all the actors into one space, and everybody can see in a transparent manner what is happening in which place, and we can all move in the same direction. This will also help us cut down on corruption. There would not be any need for the many traffic police on the road. We will cut down on we'll keep them to a bare minimum, because the cameras will do the job of the traffic policeman, and it will also do the job of the judiciary instantly. So I would propose, Madam C-Chair, as the chair of this great institution, that I agree with you on the matter of digitization, because it will sort out most of our problems. I have seen in all the other government interventions how digitization has reduced theft, corruption, and pilferage. Yeah, so if we can roll that out soonest. And then finally, one more thing. We have also been discussing forever again on the matter of vehicle inspection. You know, there needs to be a devolved traffic inspection mechanism that is simplified. I think NTSA again has been going back and forth on this matter. I want the Ministry of Transport, Waziri, you provide guidance on what needs to be done. In this era of digitization, working with the private sector, it should become a lot more easy for us to devolve that function, because it is a revenue-earning function. Therefore, a private-public partnership is the simplest, most efficient way of going in terms of vehicle inspection. Do you have a timeline?
Kenya. I'll shortly be addressing the media on the new regulations that we've just published and on the PPP framework for inspection of motor vehicles. Rather than spend some 12 billion, Bwana PS, we are working on PPP framework to get the private sector to come in.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Why are we looking for 12 billion shillings to inspect vehicles using government money when the private sector can do it and give us revenue? That's PS. You know, I told you this before. So again, Davis, so have the regulations been done?
2 weeks ago, I published the regulations.
So they've not gone through
For
Parliament?
inspection of motor vehicles, all motor vehicles, not just
Yeah,
public
all of them.
vehicles.
Yes.
We publish regulation for drunken driving, and we publish regulation for use and order of using school vehicles so that we don't impair and interfere or cause harm to our children. Thank you.
So the regulations you have published will also take us all the way to getting a public-private engagement towards the inspection of both public and private vehicles. Is that correct?
That will be the only way to do, Your Excellency, because then motor vehicles have to be inspected in probably all the counties out there. They
Yes.
don't have to go to designated
Yes.
inspection centers.
Yes.
And because inspection of through PPP is a bankable business,
Correct.
the private sector is willing to invest in that space.
Correct. And we have so many people who are willing to work with government on motor vehicle inspection, you know, in a structured manner that makes sure that we are certain of the roadworthiness of every vehicle on the road, but without costing the public any money to do that exercise. That exercise can be done in different places by the private sector on revenue, and in the process, we will also get some money to do all these other things we want to do. Is that correct? One more question. When?
Because we've done the gazettement, Your Excellency, let's allow us to roll out the PPP framework for the private sector to develop. We are working very closely also with NTSA to set the threshold on who will be licensed and the rules to inspect vehicles. I'm told 1st of July. 1st of July.
1st of July.
Yes.
Bwana Deputy Comptroller, please put it in my diary so that I can call Davis on 1st of July to find out whether.
Rules, Your Excellency. You've gazetted.
No, I'm saying, but you know, 1st of July is when we will begin to implement the PPP framework. Is that right? Well, that's my understanding. Yes, Abu Bakar?
Daga, Your Excellency, we're giving time for people to apply for licenses through NTSA. And
Licenses to do what?
To operate a motor vehicle inspection center.
Yes.
So that then we give time for at least 3 months for people to set up these inspection centers. So that will take a bit of some time.
Explain to me again, sorry.
I'm saying we're encouraging, the regulations are now in place. So we are going to license private actors to get this license through NTSA, depending on the zoning that they will be operating. And then they're going to build these inspection centers so that the inspection of the vehicles takes place. So we have put a cutout deadline of 1st of July.
By 1st of July, what will have happened?
Vehicles will be being inspected.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yes.
So between now and 1st of July, you do everything else. So on 1st of July, there will be a place for every motor vehicle to be inspected.
The same for the use of telematics, for
Yes.
commercial service vehicles and
Yes.
school transportation.
So 1st of July.
Correct, Your Excellency.
So there is no variation, it's still 1st of July. Okay? So, okay, just those two, you know, those two will reduce the problem we have here by 70%. Just those two things we do. We get the vehicle inspection right, which means we will have as few as possible unroadworthy vehicles on our roads. And then number two, we will also raise some revenue to give to all these other good people to do the other things they need to do. And then on this camera business, we will also consolidate and make it administrative. I don't know whether that was what you meant, Chief Justice. Yes.
So that we get from the police what they have recorded, the ODPP, to the judiciary, to the prisons, and on your dashboard, or my dashboard, I can be able to tell what is happening.
Correct.
because of that system which is integrated.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's one. That the integration of the system is very good.
Yes.
What I was saying is, if we zero in on the space on instant fines, yeah,
Yes.
it means the need to take this person who has committed a traffic offense, maybe he has jumped the lights or he has caused an obstruction, the need to drag that person to court is
It's
not
no
there,
longer
is
there.
no longer there.
Because we
At
have categorized the offenses, the
Yes.
administrative offenses.
Yes.
That are now instant fines.
Yes.
They are no longer criminal.
Yeah,
They are no longer police,
and court.
judiciary, DPP.
Correct.
We are only left with the serious ones.
Correct.
Causing death.
Yes.
And other serious traffic offenses. So we are dividing the administrative.
Correct.
And the administrative, if you look at the statistics, Your Excellency, are the majority.
They are the majority.
Actually, 70%, yes, are the administrative traffic offenses.
And they are the ones jamming our courts.
Yes, because even the road congestion and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Davis, you don't need any other persuasion that we will solve this problem. The answer to this problem, 70%, is sitting with you. So within a month, we do the instant fines. And then we do the cameras. And then the instant fines immediately. Okay? Within, because I have seen the pilot. The pilot have been done. All right? It was done. So, and very successful, you know, and we will raise a lot of money. Yeah. So you'll have a lot of money, Chief Justice, when when we just need to get the ministry to sort. So 70% of this big problem we are trying to solve here can be sorted out with just 2 interventions: instant fines and vehicle inspection. Things within our purview and our reach in months. So I am suggesting that we then have maybe a conversation around July at the NCAJ level, and maybe 2 months later we can reconvene again and see